we just drew a picture of the shark about what we already knew about the shark. Okay? Now it's time to look at the shark and actually assess a little bit of how correct we were and learn some other things about it. Alright?
Okay.
So, I'm going to put this down. We've got our shark right here. Now, our shark, what is the first things that you noticed about it? Yes.
It's all hard.
It's hard. So, it looks like it is pretty stiff, correct? So after a shark passes away, after an animal passes away, it goes into a state of what's called rigor mortis, and that means the muscles are stiff. And it stays that way, and when we dissect it, we have to pull away those muscles, and we're stronger than it, so it's fine. Alright, what's another thing that you noticed?
But the tail is semi-cut off.
Yep, that's part of the packaging. Alright?
The ice is all like, it's,
Dehydrated.
yeah.
So it's dehydrated because they took it out of the water. And so the eyes start to sag inward, yes.
But the tail is like, us have a two fin, or a top fin.
So it definitely has a stronger top fin and bottom fin. But the tail is really important. Why do you think that tail is so important?
It helps keep it in motion.
Helps keep it in motion. Okay, yeah.
I noticed the dorsal fin droops.
Well, the dorsal fin, when it was actually swimming, would be up, as with this one. But these things are all happening because of the packaging process for dissection. Okay? So, let's start to talk a little bit about the parts of the shark. Okay? I'm going to go over them a little bit. So, first we start off with the tail. I'm going to cut the tail off. We're going to look at it. So, this tail is nice, and is it smooth or is it super bumpy? Look at it. Is it smooth? Yeah. It's not bumpy, it's not bumpy. It's because it needs to swim through the water quickly. Why does it need to swim through the water quickly? Yes.
Get away from the animals.
To get away from other animals?
Or eat other animals.
Totally. Or eat other animals. The shark is totally streamlined to move as quickly as possible through the water. And it does this through its whole entire body shape and its very powerful tail. Alright? If we look on the inside of this shark tail, we see a lot of yellow with a little bit of clear white in the middle, right? A lot of yellow. This yellow, does anybody want to take a guess what helps it move so powerfully through the water for that speed?
Well, the muscles on the outside spine, I guess, is the white.
Yeah, it's the muscle, but sharks actually don't have bones. So this spine structure
Cartilage?
comes from cartilage, completely correct, well done. So this cartilage runs up and down and holds the structure of the shark together. Alright, so we're going to pass this around in a moment. But first, I want to keep looking at the rest of the shark. So this is a spiny dogfish shark. Everybody say spiny dogfish shark.
Spiny dogfish shark.
There are two dorsal fins. Remember we talked about earlier? The dorsal fins are on the top. The first dorsal fin and the second dorsal fin. On the top here, there are much longer spines that come off the top of the shark when it's actually alive and swimming. They cut these off because they're made of cartilage and they can be pretty sharp and pointy. And when they're packaging, they don't want the packaging to be punctured. So they snip those off so that we don't have to use them and we don't have to worry about them. Okay, that's a distinguishing feature of, what was the name of this shark, everybody? The spiny dogfish shark. Okay, so it's spiny because of the spines, and dogfish shark because of its other genetic traits. Now, does anybody remember what these two fins are called? Anybody? Raise your hands. Clint? The pelvic fins. Say it. Everybody say pelvic fins.
Pelvic fins.
And now I immediately know that this is a male because at the bottom it's got two things called claspers. Everybody say claspers.
Claspers.
Alright? Now this is a little bit of its stomach protruding because of the packaging. Don't worry about that part. The two things that you need to see are attached to the pelvic fins, and these are the claspers. These are how you know it's a male. If it doesn't have it, it must be a
Female.
code. All right. Now let's move a little bit forward. We are here looking at the caudal fins. These fins are helping it stabilize and helping it move through the water. But where does most of the power for movement come from, everybody?
The tail.
Everybody?
The
Tail, totally. Yeah, so it comes from the tail. Now, a few more things about the middle part of the shark, okay, before we start moving forward. There's some really interesting things going up the front. So the middle part of the shark, there is the lateral line. And this lateral line that runs across the middle of the shark helps it to stay balanced. When you're underwater and you're a shark, you need to know which way is up and which way is down and where you are in the water at all times. This is where it gets its sense of balance inside the water. Because if you're spinning around the water and you don't know which way is up, you're no good at finding where your food is next. And everything about the shark is making sure that it knows to get its next meal. All right, so as we're looking at the shark, one way is actually smooth, and the other way is kind of rough. And I'm going to have everybody test it in a bit, and I will pass it around in a little bit. But when you try it, when you touch it, one way is smooth and the other way is rough because the skin cells are actually made from the same thing that the teeth are. These are called dentricles. Everybody say dentricles.
Dentricles.
Go like this, everyone. This is the shape of the tooth as well as the shape of the skin cell. So these hooks grow larger in the mouth, but they also are what make the skin cell this way. You can put your hands down. And when you put your finger against it, one way it is rough. Okay. Let's look at the coloring of it. Now you told me earlier that the shark was gray, right? We know that. But is it the same color on the top and the bottom, everybody?
No.
No. Does anybody know why? Yes?
Well, if you're a predator, but and you look down on it, it will blend in with the sand of it. And if you look up, it will blend in with the sun and the light. From the light.
Exactly right. So, if you are looking down at a shark from above, the color of the water is dark. So it wants to blend in from above, it's dark. And from below, if you're looking up, it is light. So from below, it's harder to see because it's lighter on the bottom. So you're looking up and it blends in with the light. Yes?
But in like the gray kind of like a little bit like goes under like a little like
Yeah, it's not perfect, but it does a good job. This is all about genetics, right? This is all about how it's born, but this is why the colors happen this way, okay? So it can catch its prey and sneak up, and it can also camouflage from predators. Blending into its environment is its form of camouflage. In fact, the word for this is counter shading. Everybody say counter shading.
counter shading.
All right, let me move a little bit forward to these parts. What were these parts called, everybody?
Gill slits.
One more time.
Gill slits.
Gill slits. Perfect. So, sharks actually don't breathe through gills like other fish do. Sharks have water flow through their mouth or through these nares on top. These are called their nares. And they flow through their mouth or through the nares and out the gill slits. So, how do you think it gets that water to flow that way? It can't go, so how do you think it gets the water to flow in?
Well, since it's swimming through the test that way, it opens its mouth, or if those things that like, it will just go into the slits so it can get in there.
Yeah. So, what does that mean about sharks moving? Do you think
They never stop.
they can't stop moving? Because if they stop moving, they can't breathe. And they'll sink too. That will absolutely help hurt their air intake. And if they're holding air inside, they also have oil to help with the growth as well. Okay? So, but we're not talking about that part. So, the last piece that I wanted to talk about before I get to the mouth and eyes later on and what we're talking about are these holes right here. And these are where they take in water. But it's not for breathing. Why would they want to take in water?
Maybe they to propel themselves.
It's a good guess.
Like weighted or stay hydrated?
No, they're underwater, so they're pretty hydrated. I want you to think about it this way. What does it look like? Where on the shark is it? It looks like a nose, but it's not quite a nose. What is it doing? What is it doing? Yeah. So it's actually testing the chemicals in the water. It's actually got a really, really, really powerful ability to test the water around it for any sense of blood. Why would it want to test it for blood?
To see if, like, something dead that he can eat, like a fish.
Yeah, dead or injured fish are a lot easier to eat than healthy ones that they would have to go chase and catch. All right, everybody. We're about to start talking about the rest of the shark and cutting it open.